Welcome back to my channel, guys. I'm tired. It took me I don't know, it took me too long to set this thing up. Still trying to think of an intro to do to my videos. Whether it's something I'm saying or like a slideshow or, some kind of animation thing. So bear with me. In this video, I want to talk about why I left LA and the pros and cons of LA, because I know we all hear like good things, and it's like I don't know, a paradise place or whatever. So I just want to give y'all my input of living there for 2 years, coming from Texas, where I technically moved from New York to LA, but Texas kid going to LA, and how I went through life in LA for 2 years. So the main reason I went to LA is because I'm modeling is like a thing that I do every now and then. And so I was trying to see if I could I honestly don't know why I went to LA, because it wasn't really modeling. I think I just wanted to like see that life and live that life for a while, because I knew like a typical LA model, which I'm not. So I kind of had like an idea who they were and what they looked like and stuff like that. So I didn't really go out too much for modeling over there. It's more like just to see life over there. Now everybody's leaving LA. Like a lot of people are leaving LA, and a lot of businesses are leaving LA. I don't know much about business, but like the taxes and all that stuff. So a lot of businesses are leaving. From like Tesla, I know everybody knew about Tesla leaving, and like smaller businesses, and a lot of them are coming to Texas and in Austin area, especially during COVID. So I just want to give y'all an insight of like what is LA like, and not necessarily the pros and cons, but like basically roast some stuff down. So I'm gonna actually roast something down. Everything's expensive. Everything is expensive. And people compare it to New York, and they be like, is New York more expensive than LA? Or vice versa. So me living in both, I only lived in New York for 6 months though. So, but me living in both, New LA, what I tell people is, if you get a car, then it's gonna be like the same or more than living in New York, because it's a car maintenance. It's a vehicle. But if you don't, and you have like kind of affordable rent and stuff like that, then it could be cheaper. Technically, it's cheaper, because I was looking at like statistics and stuff like that, and it was like LA is cheaper. But in the end of the day, I feel like it's the same. If not, could be more, because of transportation. Like in New York, you don't need a car. Like a car is why? Why would you get a car in New York? So cost of living is a bit cheaper than than New York. Food is expensive. Like avocado toast, people actually buy avocado toast like $18, like avocado toast. So yeah. So that's like the whole food. Clubs, you have to pay to get into. Free for the most part was the ones in West Hollywood. But besides that, but then when an event happens or Pride happens, they want to charge you $25 just to get in the club. So yeah, when events come, they do charge, but for the most part, it is free. Back to transportation though. So that's like the general cost of living. It's just, especially coming from the South, it's expensive. Transportation. So I was taking a bus. I took the bus basically everywhere. Everywhere I was going. So to the gym and to work, to the grocery store, I took the bus everywhere. It's a hit and miss because the transportation isn't that bad, but sometimes the bus doesn't come. Sometimes it's come earlier than like I had like an app and it tells you it's a good app. It's like one of the best ones for transit. I think it's called Transit app. And they will come before what they said on the transit app or come way late or it was just a hit and miss with it. And so if you miss the bus, you have to wait so long for another bus to come. I mean, one time I was waiting for the bus and I had a backpack on going to work. And my back started sweating because I was just waiting for so long. And I'm just like, so I ended up just Ubering to work. It wasn't that much, it was pretty close. So I did Uber quite often, especially like bus stops are kind of random. They're kind of spread out. So to get to like the bus that would go straight to work, I had to walk a few blocks, and it was not too bad because you get used to it, but it was just like, but if I went to go visit somebody and they like live in the middle of a neighborhood and the bus doesn't go into the middle of a neighborhood like that, so it was like you had to walk all the way. Like they take you to the main street in this intersection. You had to walk all the way down. So yeah, that was a big. And if you don't take if you don't take the transit and public transportation, you're dealing with a car, and a car is like a lot. It's like a bittersweet thing with a car, especially in LA. So the good stuff is like you can go anywhere you want to. You can leave LA. You can take road trips places like to San Diego and San Francisco and to Mexico. Like you could do stuff like that with a car. But parking, parking is a nightmare. It's one of the. It's just so terrible. It's terrible. I remember one time me and my friend was trying to go eat, and he rented a car because he was visiting LA, and we couldn't find any parking, like any parking. So, like in neighborhoods on the street, like nothing. So we ended up not eating. It's that bad. So yeah, parking sucks. It's nice to have a car. It's quicker to get places in a way. I can't. It's quicker sometimes. Now, if you have to take if you're going from downtown to Santa Monica and I can't think of the interstate. But if you're on that one strip, it's always traffic. I remember it was like 2 a.m. and I was doing Uber, and it was traffic at 2 a.m. It was traffic. I was like, where people going? It's like all the clubs just stopped at once and everybody just left at the same time. That's what it was like. And everybody that was in the club is in traffic now. So yeah, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. And I know that was a major issue for a lot of people leaving. So yeah, that's transportation. But the weather is nice. So it's kind of hit and miss with the weather. If you like seasons, if you want to wear a coat and be layered up and experience like true holidays, because it doesn't get cold during the holidays, especially like Christmas and stuff like that. It's like, I remember the last Christmas, it was sunny. I had a tank top on. I was hanging out with my friend. We went to eat some Korean barbecue. Like that was Christmas. And so if you actually enjoy holidays and the cold weather and being able to layer stuff and that whole aesthetic. So if you like stuff like that, then LA isn't for you. But if you just like summer all year round, then you'll love LA. I However, it does get cold at night. Nobody ever told me this. Nobody ever said it gets cold in LA. But it gets cold, especially at night after when the sun is down. In like the fall, winter, well, most like the winter months, but like fall and winter months. When there's no sun out, it is freezing. I had a room at the time where if it was cold outside, it was cold in my room. So, hey, it was cold. That if you don't really care for seasons and you don't mind, it's sunny all the time. It rains mostly in like January, I think, January, February. It rains. It's basically sunny all the time. So, that's not a reason. I actually don't mind the weather there. So that's not a reason I left. But it's nice to get back into my jackets and coats. Like Texas get cold, so it's nice to get back into that kind of stuff. People in LA, whew. So I didn't realize this at first, but basically everybody wants to know how you can help them. And I know people have said this and like, I don't know. I feel like people say this a lot, but it's so true. They always want to know like, what do you do, or what are you getting into? Like basically, who do you know? And if you scratch my back, I scratch yours. So it's more like that for people, which is really weird for me coming from the South, because people are more like, it's not about what you do. I mean, in the South, it's more about like education and stuff, like going to college and stuff like that. So that's like mostly the topics that people talk about the most, and sports. But in LA, it's cut and dry. It's dry. It's like, what do you do? Who do you know? What industry you in? And if you like that shallowness conversation, I guess LA is for you. I guess you wouldn't mind LA. My dog barked. I don't know if y'all could hear that. But I lost my train of thought too. Shallowness of people. And then like hanging out with people is so difficult to do, because let's say like LA is huge, like huge. And so let's say I was living in Mid-City. So let's say I live in Mid-City and my friend lives in, let's just say West Hollywood or Hollywood, like one of those areas. Just for me to get to their house on public transportation would take maybe 30 minutes, but it's not that far. It's literally like, if I was to drive, but couldn't park nowhere, if I were to drive, it would take me probably like 10, 15 minutes. And then if you're trying to hang out with somebody after work, it's just so hard to like hang out with people because everything is so spread out and nothing really works the way it should from the public transportation and having a car. So you're basically putting a lot of work in to hang out with people, like a lot. Another thing I want to talk about is like, I know how people think they want to move to LA because of the weather and like the beach, well, most like the beach and, you know, doing things like that nature, being outside like that, hiking and stuff. But I've been to the beach maybe 3 times living in LA for 2 years, because if you don't live by the beach, it's far. It's far. And if you don't drive, it's far. So I've been probably 3 times. That was one of the things that I was looking forward to, like actually going to a beach outside of Texas. Because if you know what Galveston is, then you understand. So I was looking forward to like a nice beach, but and then on top of that, it's far. It's always crowded. It's like when I did go, it's crowded. There's a lot of tourist people and people just hanging out and stuff like that. So, and there's a lot of homeless people. So you have like tents by the beach, and it's not like a pretty sight, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's there. So just for you to know, it's not like a gorgeous beach you see in TVs and movies and stuff like that. It's not. It wouldn't be. It's there's like certain little areas, but the best thing is to like find a beach that's farther away from Santa Monica and Venice and stuff like that. If you find like a smaller beach area, then I feel like you enjoy yourself more. But again, that's way far out, so can't win. But yeah, and I've been hiking twice. I think I've been hiking twice in 2 years, and like I like outdoor activities, so I love to do stuff like that. But it's just so, like I said, I lived in mid city, and Runyon is basically like, I think it's Hollywood area, like above Hollywood. Yeah, because the Hollywood sign's over there, so it's like over there. And so it takes forever just to get to the canyon. Or if I want to go to a different one, it's even farther. So it's just like, you just can't win. Everything is just so spread out. And again, with the parking, I remember one time my friend drove to the canyon, and we barely found parking because somebody was leaving. So it's just like we barely had parking. So it's just a lot of but so I left last year, and so during COVID, and with COVID happening, everything is, I mean, I think they just reopened stuff, but like everything is shut down. Everything was shut down, and it was pointless paying rent in a shut down city. So that's just how I felt. That's not the reason I moved per se, but when I came back home and visited, I was just like, well, everything's open here. So like, and I don't think I'm even gonna like stay in LA that long. Like, it'd be nice to eventually go back and get a house and, you know, stuff like that. But it wasn't helping anything that I wanted in life. And it was just expensive, and I was working like all the time. I was going to work so far, so it was just a lot of Whew. It was exhausting. It was not exhausting like New York. New York was exhausting. That's a different video. I want more for my money. So I don't think I would go back just to have a regular job. And again, yeah, so I think that was my little insight and view of of LA and how COVID changed it. And even before COVID, how you just don't have time to do the stuff you think you're gonna do when you move there. So it's a lot. But thank y'all guys. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. Please like the videos, comment, subscribe, and talk to y'all next time.